My father was an officer in the Army, psychological operations, and he was concerned that I might be taken advantage of somehow, so he arranged for me to train with a number of specialists throughout my childhood. I lived in 34 homes in 17 years.
You moved 34 times?
Mm-hmm.
God, that's extraordinary. No, I'm sure it must have been difficult, but I haven't been anywhere. Well, Cancun, not my proudest moment. I just mean, your life is unique.
It's not unique. I have a high-functioning form of autism, which means I have an extremely narrow focus and a hard time abandoning tasks once I've taken them up. I have difficulty socializing with other people, even though I want to.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Have you ever seen Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in the same room together at the same time? I haven't. It's a conspiracy right there.
I think it's as simple as that house was built before cars were big.
Nothing was terrible.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good.
This is episode 405, and tonight we're talking about The Accountant. I am Sean Allred, and joining us tonight is Andrew. He doesn't fish, he shoots. Jimison.
Actually, was it plinking?
Yeah, plinking is the art of shooting fish with a gun.
Yeah.
It's the most American thing you can possibly do, you know.
But if you're from Australia, you can use dynamite.
That's true. You just go to the Manhattan, what was it, the East River or whatever, and just throw dynamite into the river to catch the fish. Again, no Sam. He's still on sabbatical, which is fine. We wish him all the best and whatnot. And making his Cheap Seat Reviews debut is Kevin. I just realized I didn't give you a middle name from the Jury Room podcast. Gosh, dang it.
Well, I'm glad to be loved here on the Cheap Seat Review, I guess, since I don't have a middle name. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I wrote one for Andrew. I did my 5-word review. I got my top 3. I did all this stuff except write a middle name for you. Oh my goodness. That's so embarrassing. And I'm not good at
I think it's perfect.
Yeah. If I was good at thinking on my feet, I have to write everything out. Otherwise it'd be really funny. It was probably going to be something like, Kevin, why do people write on clear plastic walls from the Jury Room podcast or something like that?
You know what? Either way, it works. It all works.
Yeah. Which, by the way, those markers that he went through, I mean, Andrew, you work at a public school. You have to make a dry erase marker work for 12 months. And
I don't know how he went through so many.
Yeah.
Even with the amount that he wrote on the boards, you could get all that out of
one or
maybe
two.
One. Yeah, one or two.
Like one and a half, maybe.
I mean, I understand the movie is trying to get us to think that he's writing so much that he goes through all these markers, or maybe because of his autism, it once the felt starts to fray, he has to throw it away.
Maybe it could be something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk more about that later. So let's pull up a comfy chair and dive into this movie. This is 2016's The Accountant. And boy, am I excited to talk about this movie because I saw this when it came out and I really enjoyed it. And I've watched it 2 or 3 times since then. So I'm really excited, Kevin, when you picked this movie. But before we get too much farther into what this movie is and, Ben Affleck, and sadly, Sam's not here to give us his Ben Affleck impression.
It's really good.
It really is. Kevin, please tell our listeners your podcast and what you do and all that stuff.
Absolutely. First and foremost, congratulations on 400 episodes, guys. I know I
thank you.
congratulated you guys on social media, but it's a huge feat, and that's super exciting for you guys. But I'm really excited to be here.
All it means is that no one has told us to stop yet.
That's good. Well, or you're crazy, not crazy enough to stop, or whichever one it is. No, my name is Kevin. I'm host of the Jury Room podcast. It's a true crime podcast. It is solo hosted by me. And then I usually bring a guest on for the aftermath episode the week after the episode that I put out. But yeah, I release content every week, kind of on a break right now. But yeah, my second passion is movies and stuff like this. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. And your show, I haven't, honestly, I'm sorry to say, I haven't listened to it.
I got to go now, though, so it's fine.
Yeah. But no, I want to, because I've just kind of gotten into true crime a little bit, and there's an episode of or a documentary rather on Netflix about this girl that went to a theme park and vanished from the theme park and wasn't seen.
Is it a newer, like new one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the new ones, but I haven't heard of that one. It's sad to say, right? There's so much true crime content out there that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw somebody make the comment that we should really worry about our wives because they're the ones that sit at home and watch this true crime documentary. And if anybody's going to learn how to get away with murder,
they're plotting your death, I promise. And they know they're going to get away with it too. I can promise you that too. No, suggestions for like true crime content on Netflix. There's The Bad Vegan. It's true crime-esque. It's more white collar crime than it is like murder and stuff like that. It's really good. And then there's another crazy one. Oh man, I forget what the name of it is, but basically this family gives their daughter to a kidnapper twice because he was sleeping with both the mom and the dad, and they didn't want their affairs to come out, so they let this guy kidnap their daughter twice. It's insane. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, man.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, we're excited that you're here.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know how to follow up that crazy account, but I guess I'll try and simply say this is 2016 The Accountant, starring Ben Affleck, Anna Kendrick, and J.K. Simmons, directed by Gavin O'Connor. And I don't know any of his work, but I'll probably click on him and go, oh, he's the guy what directed. Let's see. He did The Accountant. He also did... No, he directed Miracle. He directed 2004's Miracle. Oh, well, my good sir. Yeah, okay. I am a fan. I love that movie. That movie is great. I don't know much anything else. Something called Miracle's Warrior. Good. Oh yeah, Warrior. Yeah.
The show, is it a show? The show on Amazon, I think, called The Americans.
That started as an FX show. That is a fantastic show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he did the pilot for that.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Cool. And then he's doing an untitled accountant sequel. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm all for it. And he's also
called The Notary.
He's also directing something called Fast, which is a former U.S. Special Forces officer is recruited by the government's Drug Enforcement Agency to lead a takedown drug dealers who are protected by the CIA.
I'm here for it. I think it's going to be good.
We have no idea. There's no other information about it. So there you go. Anyway, we'll talk more about that director as we go on. But Andrew, please tell us, what is this movie, The Accountant?
A math savant uncooks the books for a new client. The Treasury Department closes in on his activities, and the body count starts to rise.
All right. Yeah, that's I'm good for that. So, Kevin, this was definitely not my first viewing. Was this a first viewing for either one of you?
It was the first time for me, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, I had not seen this before. I thought that I had, but I had gotten this movie confused with The Informant, which is Matt Damon.
I mean, they're interchangeable.
They kind of are the same person, but I'm pretty sure that's what. And I had this confused, so I had.
Have you ever seen Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in the same room together at the same time? I haven't. It's a conspiracy right there.
I mean, yes, there's several movies
that's
with
not
them
the point.
together.
Why you got to debunk it already? Why you got to debunk it? They're one and the same person.
Deep fakes.
They're deep fakes. CIA. That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Nice. So this movie, it says it won several awards. So I clicked on it just to see what it was. And I kind of feel like that their link is broken.
That's how many awards they won.
No, so it was nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Thriller, which is cool. And it was nominated for something else I'm not going to read. But then it was a Jupiter Award. Ben Affleck was nominated for Best International Actor. But then he wins the Yoga Award for Worst Foreign Actor for Batman versus Superman.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's correct.
It's not even this movie.
Right. Yeah, that's not the same movie.
Right. So that's interesting to me. Anyway. So yeah, I've seen this several times, and I really, really like this movie a lot. I think Ben Affleck is really, really good in it, and of course, Anna Kendrick is just super cute, and I like her in all things. And this also has a cast that I didn't mention. I mentioned J.K. Simmons, but Jeffrey Tambor is in this, and he doesn't do a lot, but he's really great in it. John Lithgow, who of course is
fantastic.
As soon as you see him. Yeah, he's great. And of course, as soon as you see him on camera, you're like, oh, he's going to be a bad guy. John Barenthal, who we know as the Punisher in the new series.
Yeah. That kind of caught me off guard there.
Yeah. And he's really good in that. Gene Smart is in this. Allison Wright. There's a bunch of really good actors in this. And I was really, really impressed at this acting. I really enjoyed this movie. So
I had
5-word
I
review.
had very low expectations going into this movie. So yeah,
Really?
I because Ben Affleck's it up, and I'm not that I'm a hater, but I'm not a fan of him either. He's like
Sure.
in the middle for me. But no, I you know what, I liked the movie. I was pleasantly surprised.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll hit on that in just a second. Andrew, give us your 5-word review, please.
Okay. I have 2. And if you count a hyphen and 3 letters, they're both 5 words again this week.
I'm with you.
All right. So high functioning man with ASD kills. So if you count the acronym of ASD, that's one word. And then Jason Bourne with a calculator.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, I won't say this movie blew my mind in any way, but it could have been the way that I had to watch it because I watched it in kind of 3 parts over a couple of days. And I was a little confused about a couple of things, like, for instance, his brother, when he shows up for the first time on screen, I guess that I thought I had missed something, but I didn't. So I thought that this person was hired by somebody from the, what's the company?
Yeah, the arm people, the prosthetic company, whatever they're called. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I thought he was hired by them to go after this guy in Switzerland. And I thought, well, why would they do that? So I was a little confused. But after I finished the movie and then went back and watched the beginning third again, it made more sense. So I don't know. I mean, nothing was terrible, but it wasn't a movie that, and again, it could be because of the way I watched it, but it wasn't a movie that I wanted to focus 100% on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know. It kind of does. It didn't quite pass your no cell phone rule.
Yeah. And if a movie keeps my attention, it's okay. It's a good movie. This one I did want to stray a little bit.
All right. That's fair.
wanted to cheat on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to
That
watch
movie's plotting
a
your
couple
death
episodes of
now.
Barry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're going to break his moral code for cheating. Okay, Kevin.
5-word review. Mind-numbing, easy watch. Killer.
Okay.
That's 5 words, right?
Sure.
No. So like I said, I had very low expectations going into this movie. I didn't know what to expect. I had wanted to see it years ago, but I just never got around to watching it. And so it kind of, went out of my mind until you were like, hey, these are the movies that we have. And I was like, cool, I'll pick that one. And so I found myself also wanting to play on my phone, which I did. I was playing a game, but, I was like something where I could watch but still play at the same time. But it still kept my attention enough to not just because I was like, I can take a nap and I'll wake up and I'll watch the rest of it. But surprisingly, I was able to stay awake during the whole thing. And so I was pleasantly surprised. I felt like it didn't try to be more than it was, and it kept all of its plot points, which was nice. But Ben Affleck, just his facial expressions are hilarious. He's happy. It's the same facial expression.
Well, that's kind of how it would be, though,
right? For
someone who is high functioning autistic, his facial expressions aren't going to change that much.
Right.
So those of you who know me know my wife teaches children with special needs, particularly kids with autism, and so when this movie came out, she and I went and saw it, and this movie made her mad. Not how Ben Affleck portrays someone with autism, but how the father treats him. Yeah. Because the dad does literally all the wrong things, which I think the movie is trying to tell us, this dad sucks. He's a bad dad, which is, I think, part of why Ben Affleck is so curious about, if J.K. Simmons was a good dad or not.
Yeah, and he also, I don't know if you caught it, but Jeffrey Tambor's character calls him son, which I know that's like an older person thing. Like sometimes they'll just say, okay, listen up here, son. Mm-hmm. But there was a couple of hints to that father figure type that was portrayed in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the one thing that I guess I haven't given my 5-word review. I'll say this. Don't mess with moral code. That's my 5-word review. So there's a couple of things I really like about the movie, right? And one, I actually really liked Ben Affleck's portrayal. I thought he did a really, really good job, acting, because you have to almost act stiff.
Right.
You have to act reserved and very, you have to tone everything down. I mean, even the fight scenes, it almost looks like he's bored. And because it's just the thing he has to do, right? The other thing I really like about this movie is I love the timeline jump, right? This movie is all over the map where we get the intro of the movie. We get very little information other than, somebody's getting killed and we see a cop running across the street, but we don't know who it is. We don't get a lot of information. And then
honestly, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it. Because I had to watch it over 3 days. Sure. But when we got to the end of the movie, I thought, well, haven't we seen that before? And then I went back and watched it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like how this movie is kind of has layers, right? We get the intro, and then we meet, Ben's character, Christian, and it's just real subtle stuff, right? He's an accountant and he's got the full tropes and he's helping the farmers, and it's so sweet because he just wants to help people. And they're like, well, we don't make a lot of money. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, wait a minute, that's a nice necklace. Do you like it? No. But did you make it? Well, yes. So you have a business.
It's kind of like the trope from, or the same trope from The Incredibles.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Where she's like, he wants to help her, penetrate the bureaucracy. And exactly, that's exactly it. That's a great example. I hadn't thought about that. But like he's like a mild-mannered dude, right? And then it's not until, things get really crazy and he starts shooting people that 50 cal where like, oh, okay, this guy can fight, like this is a thing. And we do get some, flashbacks of him training as a kid. So it's not a complete shock, but I like that stuff. I really enjoyed that kind of storytelling. And frankly, Andrew, so Kevin, we watched recently oh gosh, who was the director? I like him so much. Wrath of Man. What was the director? Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
We watched the Guy Ritchie film Wrath of Man, and Wrath of Man does this. We get we get some story, and then we get a little backstory, and then we get backstory from a different point of view. Like we get a lot of that. I think this version did it better than Wrath of Man, personally.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I would disagree. I think the other movie, I think Wrath of Man did it better, even though I didn't like that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's funny.
I just watched recently that new Resident Evil show on Netflix, and they do the same thing like that. And they did a really good job with it. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised with that.
Andrew and I are giving each other looks. Either your laptop started spinning up really fast there, Kevin, or you have a cow in your closet with you. Or
I
something.
might have a cow with me.
Okay.
I thought maybe somebody was driving by real fast with a goat.
They were. I mean, they were. I'm in a barn closet. That's what I'm at, and I got all the farm animals behind me.
Sure,
nice.
As you are. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. It's fine.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's no worse than a guest we had literally had the TV on in the background. So you're doing great.
Oh my God. You want me to go turn the TV on too? I can do that if you want.
Yeah. Oh, by all means.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be great.
Do you want me to turn some music on too? Really get it going for you?
As long as it's copywritten and we get kicked off of YouTube. Oh. That's the only kind of music I want. None of that free play garbage. I don't want anything like that. Yeah, we're having a good time here. Let's see. All right. Here's a fun little random note that I wrote. Never thought about the fact that Ben Affleck, who plays the Daredevil, is in a movie with John Barenthal, who plays the Punisher in the Daredevil.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I didn't think about that either.
Yeah, so fun Marvel connections there. So I'm interested. So Andrew, you seem to already kind of not like this movie. So tell me some of the things that just didn't work for you. Well,
okay, those photographers that were taking his picture. Now, I understand if he is, autism spectrum disorder person, or person with that, then he might avert his eyes. He may not look directly at a camera. And I think that's the point they're trying to make. However, the photographer who's capturing his picture in all these different places that J.K. Simmons is showing, what was her name?
Yes. Medina. Yeah.
Medina.
Not Medina.
Something.
Yeah. Mary Beth Medina. Yeah.
Yeah. So none of those pictures capture any of his face except maybe a little bit of a profile on that last one that they're able to get like a face mapping picture from with her contacts at the CIA or whoever that was. But I don't know. That really bothered me. Like, of 8 or 10 pictures, you can't get one of this guy's face. So I don't know.
See, I always took that as Ben Affleck is so, smart that he always knows where the camera could be. So he positions himself so that if there's someone over there taking my picture, I'm going to make sure my face isn't shown.
That's kind of what I was thinking. The meticulous thought. Because he just thinks everything out so thoroughly that he was always in a position to kind of keep himself shielded from a camera.
I don't know. I feel like we're giving him too much credit.
I don't know. I mean, this is a guy that makes a living by, being on the run. He's able to outsmart. I mean, this is a guy that not only cooks the books for the bad guys, but he's able to turn in some other bad guys and not having it tied back to him so that he can keep cooking the book for bad guys. So I think he's pretty, gosh darn smart. And his assistant, back at the place there, she's obviously really smart too. So
The Batcave.
I did think that was a nice twist at the. There were two twists at the end that I did appreciate both of them. One, the fact that the person who's after him is his brother, and he doesn't realize that it's his brother, and his brother doesn't realize it's him.
Yeah.
Until that moment. Spoiler. But the other one was the moment where his Justine friend from childhood is his trusted helper, because we hear the voice, and I think, what is it? Gasp or sigh, heavy sigh. Yeah, we get that a couple times. Yeah, and I thought, well, maybe that person's just saying heavy sigh to be, maybe that's how they are. I didn't realize it was a computer program speaking, which was kind of cool. So I did appreciate that. But something that bothered me about his character, and maybe not his character, but the way that they portrayed his parking skills.
Well, the truck wouldn't fit in the garage straight on.
Well, is that why you think you parked that way?
That's the only way you do it, because he's got like this, it's an F-150 4-door. I mean, like, it barely fit, because when he came home really frustrated because he didn't get to finish the problem, he was like 4 inches away from the wall, and the garage door, smashes down in the bed. So that's why he had to like bump the wall. Yeah.
Because I was just thinking nobody parks that way. Like, he parked at a diagonal, and I thought that's so weird, especially for someone that has some OCD type tendencies.
But I think his tendencies were thrown off because he wasn't able to finish the problem. And I think that was what they were going for, that feeling. Even if he does park at an angle, because they showed him parking before and he didn't have a problem. But once his problem wasn't solved, it threw his whole being into disarray. And I think that's kind of what they were trying to go for, was, that it just completely destroyed him inside, that he couldn't finish what he was doing.
I think it's as simple as that house was built before cars were big.
I guess so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was a house built in the 80s when everybody was driving Yugos and Volkswagen Beetles and things like that. Not people aren't driving 9 foot long F-150s.
Yeah.
But I did like the minigun on the arm in the garage. That how does he cover the front? Oh, this is how he covers the front. Yeah, with a minigun.
But those things aside that I mentioned, I don't know. It just didn't. The movie just didn't sit with me. I don't know.
That's all right.
I can't really explain it. It's just not my type, not my cup of tea. Another thing that bothered me. Sorry,
that's fine.
I was just thinking. Was this girl, the Medina character that comes in, and I don't really know what is true about her and what is not, because he reads all this stuff, like that she's worked for the Treasury Department for the past 5 years, and then he says, you're a liar. So what was she lying about exactly?
Her criminal record.
Because I watched that scene twice.
Yeah, she had a felony charge on her record.
Well, yeah, but she didn't lie about that. She just omitted.
It's still lying.
Well, it's a lie by omission. When you fill out an application to be a federal agent, and it says, "Do you have felonies?" and you check no, that's a lie.
I mean, that's a pretty big lie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I understand that, but at the same time, it made me think as a watcher that she lied about working and what cases she worked on and how long she had been there. That's what I thought he was saying she lied about. So I don't know.
Yeah. To me, that scene does only two things. One, it forces her into the movie, into the plot. And two, it establishes she's willing to bend a rule or two.
Right.
And that's important for later, because J.K. Simmons, and he knows that. He knows at some point when he's going to retire, he needs someone to take the call. from Justine, the voice. And he figures, well, if she's willing to shove coke up a guy's nose, that borax or whatever it was, right? And then stick him in a trunk for 3 days and cook. She's obviously willing to bend some rules, and you're going to have to bend some rules in order to, for the quote unquote greater good, to use my own whatever, that's what that establishes for me. So I'm here for it, but that's all right. If it's not, again, Andrew, you've seen this movie once. I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times.
Right.
So that might be it. Kevin, anything you picked up on that you liked or didn't like?
I didn't like how, and I get it because it was, drawing to a conclusion. I didn't like how short of a time it took her to figure out that where his accounting office was and what he was doing. I didn't like that part because I felt like they had portrayed him to be so meticulous the whole time that I would find it hard for him to leave a breadcrumb like that. You know what I mean? But no, other than that part, and then I knew before they brought the brother in that it was his brother. I figured it out. But that part felt a little rushed. I felt like they could have developed that part a little bit more. I kind of assumed like throughout the movie. But the good parts about the movie is there was a lot of, unknowns, a lot of twists, some turns. There was some ups and downs, but just the way that he was able to, I don't know, be so completely OCD about literally everything in his life, but then literally in the same sentence, blow somebody's head off with a 50 cal. You know what I mean? And I felt that was definitely unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he has his little, his texture thing where he blows on his fingers before he takes a shot with the 50 cal to blow up those cantaloupes. But you're not wrong. And then he's good to just, shoot the bad guys as he needs to. But again, I think that's just the training kicks in and whatever. I mean, he doesn't hardly get injured at all. I mean, his brother beats him up more than anyone else, and that's mainly because he lets him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes to the kind of how awesome he is at the fighting. All right.
What about you? What did you things you didn't like that liked? What's your take on that?
There's actually not a lot that I didn't like because I like this movie a lot. I like the pacing. I like the J.K. Simmons character. I like, again, how we kind of jump around from, what just happened? You guys still there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, that's weird. My video of you guys just disappeared completely. And
I don't know, but now we know where you live, so it's fine.
That's weird.
Yeah, your background's gone.
What just happened? All right, whatever. I don't care. My background just disappeared.
Yeah, it's gone.
I think Skype updated in the middle of our episode.
That's weird. Whatever. Anyway, no, I like all that stuff. So, though we do have this. Oh, I wasn't ready. I should have. We do have. Come on, where is it? Stupid thing. I can't find it. Oh, this is such good radio.
Yep.
We did have. We had a montage. This movie had an accounting montage where he's, throwing the markers away and writing all this stuff. So got like a good montage.
Speaking of those markers, do you see how much ink were like exploding out of those as he threw them in the trash can?
Again,
he was so wasteful. Like I feel like he could have gotten a couple more glass panes out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have painted that whole building with those.
I don't know. I don't know. nothing really triggers me on this movie. Triggers is not the right word. Nothing really, I really hit on this movie. I enjoy it. I just watch it. I mean, this is a movie that like 3 weeks ago was on TNT, and I watched the last 25 minutes of it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Just because I like the assault on the house. I like that trope. We see that a lot in these kind of movies where it's the lone gunman. We saw it in Shooter, and we've seen it in probably another 3 or 4 movies I can't think of. But I just kind of like that trope of, the assault on the rich guy's house. And I think John Wick does it too at the end of John Wick. It's just, they always have these snipers and they're always terrible at you know what I'm saying? They're always bad. And anyway, I don't know. I like this.
Maybe that's what I don't like. The fact that I feel like I've seen this movie before, even though this is my first time watching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just so much of it that is not original. And I don't mean the story necessarily or how they use a person with disorder as the main character, but I don't know. I just feel like I've seen a lot of this before.
I do think that you're right. You're not wrong. This movie has a lot of those same action tropes, a lot of the same kind of you broke the moral code, so I have to kill you kind of tropes. I mean, you're not wrong. It has all of those things. What makes this movie different is I do think that the fact that the main hero is, or the main character, I did have a fun little disagreement with Carrie from the Dick Tales podcast, who was on a few weeks ago. I was messaging her like, "Hey, this is our movie," and she was like, "Oh yeah, Ben Affleck plays the bad guy," and I'm like, "No, he's the good guy." She's like, "Yeah, I think he's the bad guy." So
I think there's it's one of those, the lines kind of blurred on his character, right? He does bad,
almost anti-hero.
Right, he does bad things, but the plot of the movie is that he is avenging somebody's death. So it's like, it's almost like he's on the fence of, is he the good guy? Is he not the bad guy? You could make an argument for both. Like, I honestly, truly think you could.
Is John Wick the good guy or the bad guy? Is Jason Bourne a good guy or a bad guy?
Exactly.
I mean,
right. Well, like you said, he does want to do good. He does want to do things that are for the benefit and the betterment of others.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's a pretty strong case that
I think he's certainly the hero of his story and of this story. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
that's the
story,
point. He is the hero, but it definitely, the lines are blurred on it, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so my point was that, what was my point? I don't know what my point was. My point was that, I don't know. Anyway. So I do want to talk about this for a second. So again, I told you I watched this with my wife, and she teaches children with autism and other disabilities. And I wanted to ask her about, so the scenes, there's 2 scenes where Affleck goes into his bedroom and he turns on these flashing lights and really loud music, and he's got this stick that he's kind of rubbing his legs with. And I asked her, I said, "What is he doing?" And she says, "Well, for him, that's what his dad taught him. He's trying to." I'm using quotes here from my wife. He does the light and sound immersion because his dad taught him that. He's hurting himself because some people with autism have different pain tolerances. They feel things differently, and he might be trying to feel something, probably from the years of his dad punishing him. So
yeah. So I mean, it's almost like I called it like a daily meditation or a therapy type, but it's a different kind.
Right.
It's the wrong kind is the thing.
It's the wrong kind. Yeah.
It's literally a bad habit that he has, but it's what his dad taught him. And that's just what he does.
But what if that is what helps him function throughout the day? Does that make it bad? He's not hurting himself, right? He
is hurting himself. I mean, he is physically hurting himself. I mean, the thing with the stick is to hurt him. I mean, when you see him, especially the second time when he can't.
The second time you could tell it was definitely causing injuries, right? But I mean, the flashing lights and rolling the stick, that might be his way to kind of bring himself back to center. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, I'll change the dynamic. All right. So if you're someone that is hurting emotionally and you decide to cut yourself, right? To release, when you cut yourself, you release endorphins and then you get a sense of relief. So it's kind of the same thing. Like you are physically hurting yourself. I know that's a little bit of a different thing here, but like if that's how you medicate yourself,
right?
And though it helps you function throughout the day, it's not healthy,
right?
So it's kind of the same thing. Like what he's doing might work for him, but it's ultimately not healthy for him. But he doesn't know any better,
right?
Like that's the thing. Is like so. And my wife, when she mentioned the pain tolerances, so one of the girls that she worked with for a long time, she worked for this one girl for like 6 or 7 years. She said she could stick her hand like in a bucket of ice water and leave it in there for minutes and feel no pain. And I was really curious about this until I did literally a Google search. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information about this, but there are multiple articles that talk about it's the pain receptors in the brain don't work kind of the same way as others do. So that's how a lot of times that they can hurt themselves more than they realize that they are because they don't feel that pain right away, which I didn't know that.
Right.
So I learned something new. Even my mom taught special needs for 35 years and my wife's going on 15. So still learned something new, which was interesting. Yeah. Anything else we want to talk about before I play some clips?
No, I don't got nothing else.
All right.
I didn't take a lot of notes on this one.
I didn't either, but usually for me that means that I like the movie. But again, I did like the movie, so I'm good with it. I mean, all my notes were seeing him make the puzzle upside down is amazing. And my wife says that one of her kids does that. That's how they do the puzzle is upside down. They don't do it with the picture. I love how he helps the farmers with the taxes. Blackmailing an agent seems rough.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I do have a question. Going back to the farmers real quick.
Yeah.
The guys that were there at the farm to kill him.
Yeah.
Were they a part of the security firm with his brother?
Yeah.
Or were they?
That's what I assumed too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because later he's on the phone with someone, which I assume is probably
John Lithgow or somebody.
John Lithgow. Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of his name. All I had in my head was Footloose. He was on the phone with him, and he was like, he's just an accountant, and like two of my guys are dead or something like that. Like he said something like that. So I assume that everyone that he kills works for his brother.
That's what I assume too. Do you guys like if you guys like John Lithgow, check out The Old Man. It's an FX show. It's really good.
Okay.
He also is a great Prime Minister Winston Churchill. There we go. In The Crown.
I haven't seen that.
Interesting. I have not.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Cool. The only other note that I mentioned was that I love the fight scene at the farm, and then he just kind of waves. That kind of cracks me up.
Dude, I did. I laughed pretty hard at that. Because he just chokes that guy out, and then he's like, okay, I'm out, and then just walks away.
Yeah, just leaves. Yeah, I love it.
Well, that's kind of a callback because when they first see him shoot those cantaloupes, they look out the window
just like,
and he waves. So it's kind of a callback to that scene.
Yeah.
It's funny.
All right. So speaking of the farmers, here is their scene.
I meant what I said, son. You're welcome out to the place anytime. Do you fish? I got a 2-acre pond that is just thick with catfish and bass.
I don't fish. I shoot.
Well, the farm's a perfect place to do a little plinking, so.
A little plinking. I like that. Yeah.
Did you say a blinking?
No, I said some plinking. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, could you imagine him shooting a fish with that 50 cal?
There would be nothing left.
Nothing left. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. All right. Well, once again, for the third week in a row, if you say the name of your movie, I will capture it.
Tokyo, Tel Aviv, Naples. There was a sighting in Tehran, all describing the same man. An accountant. Our accountant. The accountant.
The accountant, like CPA accountant?
Yeah. By the time she says it, they've said that word like 5 times. It starts to sound weird.
It's even weirder when you're just hearing the audio.
Yeah. So this is 45 seconds. This is a long clip, and I actually edited it down to 45 seconds from the original about 2.5 minutes. But I just like everything about this scene. I love how Anna Kendrick is so confused by his answers and befuddled. And I know it's an audio clip, but like the expressions that she gives are just priceless. So this is them sitting on the when they're having lunch outside.
Plus, my dad was an accountant. He actually, he had the whole shtick. The the little amortization book and the green eye shade and the like dorky pocket protector and.
I have a pocket protector.
That's a nice one. I mean, his was dorky. Yours is nice. Dad's taste ran more to dogs playing poker.
I like dogs playing poker. Because the dogs would never bet on things, and so it's incongruous. I like incongruity.
Yeah, dogs playing poker is nice. It's sort of just different.
I love it. I think that scene's just great.
It's hilarious because she just like shoves her foot in her mouth and then proceeds to shove it further down her throat. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's very much Big Bang Theory.
Right.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that. Yeah, with like Sheldon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like everything. She's like, yeah, that thing's not cool. And he's like, but I do it. Oh, well, it's pretty cool. It's just
Right.
like she's trying to suck up to this guy for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but it was funny. The one thing I really liked that the movie didn't do is make that some kind of love thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
I mean, you feel like they kind of did.
They were trying to,
but not in the typical romantic.
Right.
sense.
Right. And I think that's, again, not to say that people with autism can't fall in love. That's not at all what any three of us are saying. But they had just met, and it's not his personality that we've seen in the movie to do that kind of thing. He feels a sense of protection for her. Right. He wants to protect her. And I just love the fact that he takes her to a really nice hotel because they have soft towels.
Right.
And he says that. He's like, and I wanted to impress you, or I wanted you to be comfortable, or something like that. Like, even in this crazy moment, he's still thinking of her needs as a person, which is really kind of lovely. It's not like in Jason Bourne, they go to some shitty hotel, right? Whereas he's like, let's go to the Four Seasons, or whatever. So
I think that.
Well, and it calls back.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It calls back also to when his parents are having that conversation when they take him to the clinic about the guy saying that he may have sensitivities to fabrics.
Yeah.
Because he wears that same T-shirt every day.
Yeah.
Which then he talks about how the towels feel and all that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think.
It's just character building, and I think good writing that you give a little bit of a setup and then you get a little bit of a payoff, which is nice.
I felt he became protective of her because they had common interests. She was able to relate to him during the montage scene, right? Right after the montage when they're talking about the money and everything that's missing. So I think that connection started there because he actually smiled while interacting with her, where up to that point, he really hadn't had a smile or a happy inflection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. And the scene you're talking about is this one.
It absolutely makes no sense.
Where's the money coming from?
Exactly.
It's not inventory?
Inventory terms, no.
Chargebacks to vendors?
No, perfectly in order.
Internal offsets?
No, that's a terrible idea.
I love that he can make a joke.
Right.
Oh no, that's a terrible idea. Like if you say it with a straight face, then you're mean. But because it's a smile, right? Because they're having a good time, it's a joke. And she just eats it up. It's great. Anna Kendrick is just the best. I want her in all movies.
I think it's just that because her brain was processing the information that he was giving her the same way that he was processing it. And I think that's how that developed into that protection mode for him.
Here is just some really good acting by J.K. Simmons.
Were you a good dad, Raymond King?
Yeah, I've been a good dad. I'm a lousy agent, and I've been a weak man. But that I didn't screw up. That I got right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Here's the last one. It's not supposed to make me laugh, but it did.
But I restore lives, not Dana. Me. Men, women, children. I give them hope. Make them whole. Do you even know what that's like?
Yes, I do.
You know what? I laugh too. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. It is pretty funny. He just, boom. I like it. All right. That's it. Time for our game. And this week, our game is sponsored by...
Do you like cute dogs? Of course you do.
We have a cute dog, and we'll share pictures of her if you listen to our podcast.
We are Two Idiots and a Dog, and we talk about movies and other media.
And post pictures of our dog, Kaiju.
New episodes post weekly on podpage.com/TIAAD media.
You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at TIAAD Media, and wherever fine podcasts are sold.
So give us a listen. You wouldn't want to disappoint Kaiju.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Time to play our new game, which is called... I keep saying new. Andrew, we've been doing this game for like 5 months now, right? I mean...
Yeah, it's not new
It's
anymore.
not new anymore. It just, for some reason, it feels new. I guess after 400 episodes, if it's under 100 episodes, it feels new. This game is what we call, Hey, Did You Notice? This is a game where Andrew asks us incredibly hard questions about the movie, and we see if we can remember small, minute details that only Andrew picks up. This is a back and forth. Kevin will go first. If you get it right, you get a point. If you don't get it right, I can steal the point. Best out of 5 wins the game of no great consequence or actual prize.
All
I'm
right,
ready,
Kevin,
man.
you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here's the first question. Blackburn asks if Wolf is aware of Living Robotics' 3 income streams. What were those 3 income streams?
Nanotechnology. Biometric something. And I can't think of the third one.
All right, we're going to go to Sean, see if Sean can
The only ones I remember there was a military contract. It just said defense contract. I remember obviously advanced prosthetics for the Army. I don't remember the third one either.
Consumer electronics.
Consumer electronics
was the third one.
Yeah,
consumer electronics, next-gen prosthetics, and unmanned military applications.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So no points awarded for that one. Number 2, Sean, this will go to you. In order to buy the dress she wanted, Dana took all the money she had and went to play blackjack at the Harris Casino, where she won $2,000 at a nickel slot machine. How much money did she start with? She said, "This is all the money I have," and I took it.
It was like $130, wasn't it?
It was like 183 or 87 or...
That's it. Yeah, Kevin, you got it. $183.
Nice.
Yeah, so a point for Kevin there.
Nice.
All right, Kevin, this goes back to you. The IRS agent and Medina discover that ZZZ Accounting is in partnership with several businesses in the strip mall. Paul's Laundromat is located directly to the right of the accounting firm, but what business is directly to the left?
It was a grocery store. It was a Asian grocery store, and it was... Oh, I can't think of the name of it. Yeah,
Sean?
I can't think of the name of it.
I mean, isn't it not I thought it was a Chinese restaurant. I thought it was like Great China Restaurant or something.
Well, that was one of the businesses, but that was to the right of the laundromat.
Oh, okay.
On the left side of the accounting firm, there was Kim's Nail and Facial.
Oh, damn.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Sean, this goes back to you. The number 3 is the number Christian finds in common as the second number in each of the random ledger accounts. 3 is a special number for Christian as shown by his shooting of the 3 melons, eating 3 pancakes, 3 strips of bacon, and 3 eggs for breakfast. But there are 3 other personal items that tell us that 3 is an important number for him. What are those items?
Besides the fork, spoon, and knife that he has, not just those 3 things?
Not the fork, spoon, and knife.
The other 3 things that he has that are important to him. 3 things. Personal things. Are they in his house?
Can't ask questions. That's not how this is working.
All right, fine.
Well, it is the same item 3 times. No, it's not 3 separate items, if that's what you're thinking.
I can't think of any other item that he has 3 of. I mean, he has the one thermos that matters to him. He has a whole bunch of markers he throws away. He's got the 3 utensils, the 1 plate. He's got guns everywhere. Cameras everywhere. I'm trying to think of I don't know.
All right, Kevin, do you have a guess?
I was going to say the thermos.
Well, we just played the clip a moment ago that talks about his pocket protector.
Oh, the 3
And
pins?
in his pocket protector, there were 3 pins. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Kevin, this goes to you.
You know, he's already won, but I guess if you get this wrong, I could technically steal it. Maybe.
Or it's a tie.
Yeah.
Do we have a tiebreaker?
Oh, yeah. I've got tiebreakers. All right. So as Dana goes through Christian's drawers in the camper, she finds money, utensils, baseball cards, and comic books. What 2 superheroes are on those comic books?
I know they were action something comics. Superman? Yeah, I'm going to go with Superman.
Well, that's 1, but there were 2.
Who else is in Superman? I don't know. Honestly, I wasn't paying attention to that part, but I knew it was a comic book.
All right, Sean.
Well, yeah. So there was the one on top, but he takes one also. They were both. I thought they were both Action Comics, like number 1, which would have been, Superman would have been the first one. I can't remember if the second one was Detective Comics or not, which would have been Batman. But but that feels it feels too on the nose to be Superman and Batman. So I'll say, who else would it have been? Superman and Captain America. I don't know.
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to do a deep dive on that, so you may not have known. Even if you saw the character, I don't know. Because this was a costume that I had never seen. It was like a red costume, and he had a green cape.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Before. Yeah. So it's like Green Lantern number 16. I did a big deep dive.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's it.
I have a
yeah.
tiebreaker.
No, our Kevin wins.
We don't need it.
Sweet.
Congratulations, Kevin.
I'll expect my prize in the mail.
No problem. Well, you've already got stickers from me, so I don't have anything else to send you.
I'll take that bet behind you. It's fine. I got you.
Yeah. All right. Time for this. This is our top 3. We chose J.K. Simmons movies because we've already done Ben Affleck and Assassins several times. So let's do J.K. Simmons roles. And we will start with Kevin.
So we were talking about this beforehand, and I'm a huge fan of him. He's a great supporting character. He always plays that kind of off in the background. Even in this movie, even though he was more focused as a central character, he was still felt like a background character, but nonetheless, it was still a great character. My top 3 is probably going to have to be Spider-Man from 2002, and then this movie because I hadn't seen this movie, and then Palm Springs.
All right. Right on. All right. My 3 I also chose Spider-Man as my number 1. J. Jonah Jameson is such a great character. I mean, it was like when they wrote the comic, they thought of him. I mean, it's honestly like when they wrote the new Nick Fury, they literally drew it to look like Samuel L. Jackson. So that's why he, is the perfect casting. So my number 3 is Juno, when he's the dad from Juno. And
punch that bleaker kid.
You beat me to it. I love that line. That's just one of my. I keep typing Juno wrong. Gosh dang it. But I just this. Yeah, there you go. My number 2 is Klaus in the movie Klaus. He is Santa Claus in Klaus, the animated film, and that's such a good movie. If you like Christmas movies, it's such a good, cool version of the Santa Claus movie. So, highly recommend it. And of course, Spider-Man's my number 1. Andrew,
yeah. Well, whoa, you good there?
The cow got to him.
Yeah. Well, I have got at number 3. I have Juno, mainly for the punching the bleaker kid in the wiener thing, because that makes me laugh every time I hear it. I also have Spider-Man as number 2, and then at number 1 I have Whiplash.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I need to. I know
Whiplash is it is in my top 10 list of, or movies, not just because I'm a musician and it's a music movie.
Right.
But it's just such a good movie. And it's a heavy movie though. So it's not something you're going to want to watch over and over, but it's so great. Definitely watch it.
Twitter chimed in a little bit and said, at your next movie pod, your next favorite movie pod says Whiplash. That's just Whiplash. And at Avatar Pod, says Whiplash, Up in the Air, and Palm Springs. So there you go. Whiplash getting some love there, as well as Palm Springs, which I've not seen. All right, time for this. This is where we give the movie a score from 0 to 10. And we put it in the our big computer sheet here and see where it ranks up against other films that we have also seen. Andrew, you go first.
Well, IMDb is set at a 7.3 out of 10 on this. I can't go that high, just because rewatchability for me is not quite there. Maybe had I watched it in all in one setting and been in a different mood, maybe, I don't know. Mood sometimes can affect the way that we feel about
That's exactly right.
The acting itself is fine. There's no big issues there, and very good in some parts. And the way that like I said, the twists happen and they're kind of unexpected. I give them props for that. So I'm still going to put it at about a 6.7.
All right.
Out of 10.
Kevin?
I think I'm going to have to go above the IMDb rating. Somewhere in the 8 range. If I had to nail it down to an exact number, I'd probably put it around like an 8.2, 8.3, something like that.
Right.
I could see myself rewatching it. There were a couple of places where I didn't like the storyline, but it didn't affect it all that much. So yeah, I would say somewhere in the 8 range.
Okay, wow. That's a lot higher than I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to be closer with Andrew. Okay. Well, I like this movie a lot, but I don't think I could go 8.2. I'm just going to give it an 8. I like this movie a lot, but I can't put it above Lethal Weapon. I just can't. So I gave Lethal Weapon an 8.1, so I'm going to go an 8. And that's okay. And that puts this movie at a 7.6. So we have a string of movies here. The last 4 movies in a row have been between 7.56 and 7.9. So I think what that means is we're watching some good movies. I think that's good. I think it's okay to watch some good movies. Our next episode, that number might go in a different direction. We'll see what happens. But before we do, that's our show. That's it. Thank you all so much for listening. And I am so excited. Kevin, please tell again our listeners where they can find your show. And yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It's been a blast with you guys. My name's Kevin again. I host the Jury Room podcast. If you guys are into true crime, come check my show out. You can find me anywhere you find Cheap Seat Reviews. You'll definitely find the Jury Room podcast. And also, I have a series that I've been working on, but I'm getting ready to turn it into a second show. If you're into about addiction or learning about the history of drugs, the war on drugs, that kind of things, just look up Addicted. That's going to be my second show. I've already got episodes out, but that transfer should be complete around the beginning of August.
Right on. Very good. I've listened to a couple of your Addicted episodes, and it's some good stuff. So,
well, thank you for listening. I appreciate that very, very much.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Well, it was also my homework assignment, so I had to. But in the meantime, before I get to what we're doing next week, go back and listen to all 400 other episodes. Andrew, I found a listener on Twitter that is doing that. And just bless her heart. Yeah, she made a comment. Yeah. She's listening to the Children of the Corn episode. So she won't obviously hear this.
Oh my gosh, that's
she won't hear me saying this for a long time. I don't know if she's staying current, but she mentioned going back and she's listening to the Children of the Corn. That's like episode 8, 9, 10, something like that.
That was way before my time.
Yeah. So we legitimately did that movie just to scare Cornelius, who was one of our original 4 co-hosts, because his sister made him watch that movie as a child and scared him. So he hates that movie. Yeah.
I'm all for torturing people.
It's a true story. It really is. So go back and be like her and go back and listen to those episodes. You can do that, of course, on all of the major podcatching platforms, as well as you can just go to our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. There you can find links to our socials like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on all of those places, though typically I'm just most active on Twitter. Send me a message. I'll say hi to you and we can chat about movies. And apparently I talked today with who I was on last night with, Jen from My Streaming Bubble. We talked about soup today on Twitter. So you never know what we're going to talk about. So yeah, that's going to do it. Next week. Next week, next episode. I am so excited to announce we are watching Cowboys and Aliens. That's right. You heard me. Cowboys and Aliens.
Andrew's fan.
Yeah. No, this is a movie that's going to be a little controversial.
This is going to be very controversial because our guest absolutely, positively loves this movie, and she is here to defend it. It is MJ from the Spooky Tales podcast, and I'm so excited to have MJ on next week for Cowboys and Aliens. Also, I'm super stoked to announce. Last week, I teased that I had a big announcement. Here's the announcement. We now have a Patreon. That's right. We have a Patreon. Cheapseat Reviews has a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/cheapseatreviews. Check it out. There's not much. Basically, we just want a little support, and that would be really great. We've had such great support from you, the listeners, for so many years. We're in this time where it would just be really great if the show could kind of help pay for itself. You know, if the lowest membership is just $1 a month. $1 a month. If everyone listening donated $1 a month, then that would completely pay for the show out of pocket. And then we could do some really cool stuff like do stickers to give to guests and things like that. So please go to patreon.com/cheapseatreviews. Give us a follow. That would be really great. looking forward to it as well. So thank you so much. We're very excited to add this to our, repertoire of things to interact with you. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you all so much for listening. And on behalf of Kevin, Andrew, and Sam, this is Sean saying thank you all so much for listening. And we'll see you next week for Cowboys and Aliens.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.